everyone, Vic here from @Forever Scrapping. Today I'm sharing with you a process video for a 12 by 12 scrapbook layout for Lottie Loves Paper using the Hey Hello collection again by Pebbles. So originally I wanted to do a vertical column down the centre of my layout, and I'd already prepped my plain cardstock with some white gesso so that I could apply some mixed media to the layout. However, I wanted to use this teal coloured tag, which I'm just trimming down because I love the saying on it, the words "you are my person," and I also wanted to try and incorporate that little hey hello one with, or hey you actually, with the cute cheetah on. And they weren't really working for me on a vertical line, so I flipped my cardstock around 90 degrees and my layout ended up being on the horizontal instead. I absolutely loved that teal tag in the collection, "You are my person," and today I'm scrapping a photo of my eldest in the paddling pool in the garden, and her face just about says it all. She's always up for fun, and is a bit of a character. She does like to clown around a little bit, but she just reminds me so much of myself. She just absolutely loves life, and I just thought that's the sort of person I would want to be around, rather than a quiet little wallflower. She's certainly not that, so I definitely want to incorporate that on my layout, and I thought it went perfectly. Although a slightly darker colour on the floral bits and on that tag, it tied in quite nicely with the blue of the paddling pool as well. So that was my thinking behind that. Now I had a couple of those monochrome animal print circles left from a previous layout, so I try not to throw too much away. You never know when you're going to need them. Obviously I don't want to be like swamped in the corner of a room with loads of bits of paper left behind and that, but things that I think I can use I do keep hold of. So I had kept hold of those circles and have managed to incorporate those on this layout as well, just to give a little bit of a diagonal line across my layout. I think it just helps your eye follow down to the photograph, because at the end of the day the scrapbooking layouts to me, although I love all the decorating and the designing and everything, it is about that photograph for me. So I wanted your eye to be drawn towards that, and I think by doing this across the diagonal I have sort of achieved that. So I've pulled out, as you can see, a lot of the ephemera from the kit. Wanted to try and use a little bit more of that because I do fussy cut my papers an awful lot and tend to make my own embellishments that way. So always seem to forget about these bits of ephemera. And I had a wonderful title there, Summer, a lovely acrylic perspective from Bramble Fox that I used, and that's the title for my layout because I think of trying to build up the colours behind that word just so that it stands out from that background cardstock. So I thought I'd add that flamingo on because that's quite summery and that. And I did have that picnic hamper, some sunglasses because that's summery. I don't know about you guys, but I always struggle to put random ephemera on layouts that don't sort of tie in with my theme of my photograph. I am trying to make a concerted effort to add those on a bit more and not be so tied up and worried about it, and just go with it, but I do struggle quite a bit. So I was quite proud of myself for putting the flamingo on, and the cheetah character, the cute critter that was on that journaling square to the left there. So I'm sort of happy now with how I'm going. I've tucked the top of that teal tag, which I'd cut off of that journaling bit, off to the left to try and balance the colours a bit more. I wasn't sure whether I was going to put that great big huge floral on. And actually, looking back on it now, it actually looked quite nice there. So maybe I should have done, but I ended up not using it. I've held off cutting into that beautiful floral paper in the collection for quite a while. But the colours of the flowers are just gorgeous, and they're so big and bold. I think they're brilliant. But obviously decided against it on this one. Now I'm just adding a few little fussy cut rainbows. I think that's from Amy Tangerine paper. I just thought the colours matched the Hey Hello collection nicely, and rainbows are just everywhere at the moment, absolutely everywhere. I mean, the sign, I popped them on there, one because of the bright funky colours that, you know, they were quite summery colours anyway, but with us being in lockdown and everything, rainbows become like a symbol of hope. And Isabella in the paddling pool, just having fun in that, to me just sort of gave me some hope, and that everything's going to be fine, and it doesn't matter if we're at home, we can make our own happy and have our own fun. You don't have to go out all the time, you know, we're quite happy as we are. So I wanted to make the photograph stand out a little bit more, and I've got a few pops of black in that animal print circles and the sunglasses, so I've used what little bit of scrap I've got left of that lovely black and white dotty paper from the collection, just to give my photograph a little border. So I've backed it onto that, and I think that just brings the photograph out even more now on the page. And like I said, that is the most important thing to me, that photo. So I think I achieved that by just backing it with a colour. Now I've used some yellow Distress Oxide sprays, and for some reason I decided to spray it directly onto the area that I gessoed, and I wasn't really enjoying it. It was too blotchy, and I should have sprayed it with some water to mush it around a bit more. But anyway, most of it was going to be covered up, and sometimes mistakes can be happy mistakes, so I just went with it. And I've applied some gesso, not gesso, sorry, some of my Gelatos, similar word, directly onto a stencil there. And then, as you can see, I just watered it down with my paintbrush, and then popped it onto the yellow areas, and just used some tissue on the back of it as I blotted it down, and it just leaves a slight imprint of the stencil, which I absolutely love the result of that. I've done that before, and I think it just adds a little bit more dimension to it. So once that was all dry, I could then go about sticking everything back on to my layout. And as you can see, look, I am covering up most of that Distress Oxide spray that I'd put on. So give it a go with paints and things. It can look like a real mess on your layout, but trust me, once you start to then layer everything up on top, you cover most of it up, and it does just help bring a layout together sometimes, and just help lift it off of the page a bit more for you. It's always worth a go. You could do that with sprays, ink pads that react with water, watercolour paints, watered down acrylics. You know, the possibilities are endless with that, so it's always worth just having a play. So for me, that was it really. Just a case of popping everything back down and sticking it down, layering some bits up on some sticky back foam just to add a bit more dimension. And then I wanted to add a bit more detail to that background, and because we've got the black, I decided that I could use some stamps. So I've actually, I think it was from Picnic in the Park, I might be wrong, stamp set from Amy Tangerine that I've had from a past Lottie Loves Paper kit. Just added a few hearts around the place and the phrase good times, because I thought that tied in nicely, and I could get away with those darker colours just because I've got a bit of black around the photo, and Isabella's costume was dark as well. So now, as you can see, that bottom left bit there on my layout where I'm trimming it, I cut the branding strip off, and it ripped. I was like, oh no, I've ruined my layout. I hate that when it happens at the end. So I had to try and rectify it, and in my stash, oh my gosh, I must have had this about 10 years, was a piece of old, I think it was Kaisercraft animal print paper. Would you believe it? I know it's a bigger print than what was in the collection, but actually it tied really nicely and framed that layout for me perfectly. So that was a very happy mistake there. So, you know, just go with it. Go with it. So just sticking it down with some double-sided tape, and I find if you do that, pull some of it off and then put your cardstock back on, then you know you've got a bit of manoeuvrability. It doesn't stick your layout together straight away. You can adjust things and make it level. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed my video and all my happy mistakes I've made along the way. This has been Vic at Forever Scrapping with a design team layout for you with Lottie Loves Paper. Thanks for watching. Bye.